He's away. He's in England and doing some jousting there. And what do we got? We've got Mia.
Yep.
And she's actually the one who is going to do some of the writing on the videos today. So we thought that was a good idea. And also, Mia is the one who is reading the questions that you write for us. And she's used to be here all the time, but you've never seen her before.
Always hidden behind the
Yes.
scenes.
So it's going to be all female today. And what we're going to talk about is the so-called hunter's bump. It's something that, there are many names for this diagnosis, so if you could call it that. It's a fault in the exterior of the horse that it's possible to do something with it to help the horse to get out of this trouble. And we're gonna just look at for the whole stream we're gonna look at the horse Adonis. Mm-hmm. And he is a Norwegian warm blood riding horse. He's got very nice show jumping lines. So he's a very nice horse, but he has got this trouble in his back, among other things. And we're going to have a look at it, and we're going to explain a little more about what it is. And then we're going to talk about some exercises and ways to train that we have used for this horse to help him.
Yep.
So, if we can have a picture 9160.
That didn't work.
There it is. And he's really dirty and has got food all over his body. But if we focus on his lumbar back, but is it possible to zoom in on on that area?
Nope.
No, it isn't. So you guys must just try to see. You see the withers. It goes down and backwards, and there is an even line there. And when you come right before the curve is turning the other way and down at the pelvis in the croup, there is a slight little bump, and it's quite small.
Transparent. You can try to point to it or not.
Yeah. Ooh, he's advanced. Look at me, and it's mirrored, so it's difficult. It's there. There. It's a tiny little bump there. And the problem, it was much worse before. So it's now, I didn't have the thought of taking a picture of this when it was really easy to see it. But he has, he's gotten treatment from a very nice equine therapist that was working with his muscles in his hindquarters. I guess the psoas, for instance, we talked about psoas in humans, and if that muscle is really tight, it might pull on the muscles in the lumbar back like that. So yes, I think we can just take away the picture now. So what we did is, as I said, there was this therapist that helped him with his hindquarters, and then after that it was impossible to do anything more for her because he reacted very strongly to the treatment, and I think that was a good thing because it was really essential for him to get help to get those muscles to relax. And if you're wondering what the reasons for the hunter's bump can be, that can be many different reasons. And since it's called the hunter's bump, that is because it's most often seen in show jumpers and hunters that is jumping a lot. And and many of those horses have perhaps been jumping a little too high, in a little too young, or they have been, for instance, have a bad landing, that they get a little stretch in muscles or ligaments that are not strong, like really strong enough for that level in the beginning. So that means it's really important when you have a young jumper that you let them jump small jumps in the beginning, and let them have time to develop the strength in their ligaments and the tendons and all those parts of the body that is growing really slowly, because muscles can grow fast, but the ligaments might take some more time. So then what we're going to talk about now is what we have done, what methods are we using to help the horse, because from that treatment where the horse was like more or less shocked, not shocked, but it is a big thing when the therapist gets to the problem and loosens up where the problem has been. The horse is like, how can I move now? This is difficult to move in this new way. So we must help the horse to find its own rhythm again and not fall into the old habits. So we're gonna have a look, and I have to look at my pictures again. So if we can have a look at the video 0480. This is during this winter, and you can see how he is still trotting very tensely in his back, and he's positioning his head to the outside. But he's calm. He was, and before he got the treatment, he was really not pushing off with his hind legs that much. And now he's flowing more evenly forwards because his hind legs are actually starting to work. But he's in the rest of the body is still a little tense. But he's trying a little to stretch, but it's difficult. And what we're going to see now, how we trained during the winter, is very much in the same way that we have talked about in all the videos, like positioning the horse's head to the inside and let him stretch and let him like lift his back. You see, when he's stretching, he doesn't dare to lift his back, and no wonder, because he's been really tense in his lumbar back. So, shall we have a look at the next one, that is 0505. And here he's stretching a little more. And the only difference is that I have taken the lunge line through his bit and fastened it in the girth.
Yeah, it looks like the saddle is moving kind of softer.
Yes.
Well. Yeah.
And can you describe what you see?
I can see that when he tries to stretch, it's like he can reach from the wrong side, from his neck, that he can reach around his shoulders and the withers. Mm-hmm. But right where the saddle is lying, it's like still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the saddle is moving more like up, like this. Mm. But when he's stretching, the saddle is moving more like like this.
It's like a wave, kind of.
Yes. And that is, when the horse moves over the back, you get this tipping motion of the saddle. So that is interesting to watch. So even though here, when he is still a little unsure in this new movement, He got the treatment last fall, so like a couple of months before this. And as I said, the therapist couldn't treat him more because he refused. And then we thought, okay, that's fine. Because the other stuff we can train.
Yep.
If we just take it easy. Yeah. So let's see the next one in that series. That is 06. And now he's stretching at even more. And this is a very soft, very nice and kind warm blood riding horse. So you don't need, you can control him or communicate with him and with very soft aids.
Yep, he's very sensitive.
Very sensitive, very nice horse. So you can see that the cantle of the saddle is tipping up when he's stretching.
Yep. And yeah, I think his strides are softer and longer and more like flowy.
Yes. So he's carrying himself better, like as we say.
Even when he drags his head up a bit.
Yeah, because he's still a very like curious guy, and he's very easily disturbed, or he's looking at everything. And that has actually become very much better.
Yeah, his attention span has been a lot better.
Yeah, because
since spring.
Because that stress container, as I call it, horses have this container that is able to contain this stress. And if it's almost full already, because of pain or trouble with movement, then it's much easier for them that the whole container flows over and he starts misbehaving. Yeah, and then I think we have one more from this winter, that is 07. And now he's able to stretch even more. And this is the same, all at the same session. Yeah, and then we have the canter, and this is very interesting because it's very typical for horses with this condition that they have trouble with cantering. And you see this canter is really not very rhythmic, and he's having trouble with lifting his withers up. But now he was snorting there.
Yep. Yeah, but canter is like short and stumpy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you see that he's trying to like curl his hind leg, inside hind leg, underneath him, but it's not possible to make the back lift up because it's stuck in a sort of downward position, exactly in front of the connection between the pelvis and the spine. Yep. So let's see. Then I think we shall just go to the recent. It's the last video. I thought perhaps that would contain the where he is changing the canter on with the hind legs.
Yeah, he mixes them up a lot.
Yeah. So we didn't get it, but we have it on one of the new ones. Yep. But it was something that he did a lot. He had really trouble with just cantering straight forwards without changing the lead in the hind legs, so that he ended up with a disunited canter. And then he got panicked or stressed because it's very uncomfortable to canter in like this disconnected way. But let's have a look at the recent movies or videos. That is a 1594. You see here is much more relaxed. And his tail is not so high up.
It's much lower.
Because the tail is supposed to like go directly like straight out from it where it's connected to the body, and then like 10 centimeters or like at least some centimeters out, and then fall relaxed down. And here it does that. I forgot to look at that on the other. Can we have a look at the last video, the 07, just to compare that? You see there, the tail goes upwards.
Yep.
And that is a sign that there is something wrong in the spine.
And there's a huge difference in the movement of the saddle as well.
Yeah. So let's go back and watch the 94. And he's looking much more relaxed. And he's still only got the lunge line through the bit. And no side reins, no more contact than this loose lunge solution. But the saddle is not tipping that much. It's just a little, but not too much. There it's tipping when he's really stretching. And he loves stretching like that.
He's like a vacuum cleaner.
Yes. And especially in walk, is like, we can have a look at a picture. We have a picture like 1603. There.
Yep.
He loves moving like this. And here you can see, have you got that transparent thing, Ivar? That we try that and I can point to his legs. I'm challenging him a lot now. Yeah, good. You see here, and I have to move it like mirrored. This part, like, because it's mirrored, so it's really difficult for me to do it right. From here to, there. This part of the body or the leg should be parallel to this part, there. And it is. You see that?
Yep.
This part is parallel to this part. And then, you can take me away again, please. So you can see that now, because when you are looking at those two parts of the body or the leg, when they are parallel, it means that the horse is able to move his hind leg so much forwards so that the back is stretching. And you can see here that the bump is smaller.
It's smaller, and you can also see at the same he's trying to like tuck his bum underneath.
Yes. And the tail is much more like in the normal position. And when you see this in movement, you can see that the muscles in the lumbar back is sort of really working. Yeah, because muscles that are working, they're not still. You can see their pulse. Yeah. So let's go back to the videos. Let's take 1609. Here you can see that the saddle is really dancing. Yeah.
And it looks soft as well.
Yeah.
He's quite comfortable sitting on.
Oh, he's very nice.
But he manages to get that movement through, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so comfortable and soft.
Yeah. So I think one of these videos is when he is changing. Yeah, there it is. But before we could, we had to take him down into trot and calm him down, and then ask him for canter again. And after a little while, he would change in the hindquarters. Yep. But now he often changes it himself. Yep. He's like no, that's wrong. And then he has even changed flying change with the hind legs while I was lunging.
Yeah, he has done that several times with me as well. Yeah. Especially to the right hand, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is one thing I often do when he has trouble with that. I make him canter on a very small circle. Then he has to collect a little more, and then it's easier for him to get control over his bum. Yep. You see here, he falls apart. He position his head to the outside, and he lowers his back, and then he loses his bum. This is worth studying, I think. You should see when he's trotting that his lumbar back is having this like that. When they're sort of dancing up and down right behind the saddle. That is a very good thing, because then he's trying to stretch that part, and that is, I think, the reason why he loves that stretch.
Yeah.
And he needs to be allowed to do that a lot. It's not that he I have to say this time and time again, because people are saying, but the horse is on the forehand. You're supposed to have the weight on the hindquarters, but you can't have the weight on the hindquarters when they're not working, because he's not strong enough in the hindquarters.
It is possible for them to stretch that far away down, even staying on the hindquarters.
Yes.
My old horse did that.
Yeah, and you see that?
Yep.
When he does that, the legs are parallel. And if they're parallel, he's not collected, no. But he's not on the forehand. Because when he's kicking off, when he has his head down like that, he has to kick off with the hind legs to lift his body up. So the front legs can sort of just swing relaxedly. And often you see when horses are trotting like that for the first time, they stop, because it's so difficult for them to understand that now you have to kick off from the hind legs.
Yeah.
And that is hard for them in the beginning. So let's study that, continue studying that, and see when he is losing it, when he starts losing his back in the canter, because now the back is okay, and that is a really good trot. Yeah. So this is what we're going to. This back movement is what we try to keep when we're taking up the reins and riding in a more balanced or shorter outline. So I prefer to wait until that back is functioning before I ask for the canter. But we could see now that when he was doing the strike off, and here he's starting to losing it. So, but he was losing it like already when he was doing the strike off, I think. Yeah. Because he did the strike off by like tossing his head up and lifting his front legs with his underneck, as we have talked about many times. And then you can see that is the reason why the start of the effect that comes when he's losing his hindquarters.
And I think this is like the maybe second or third time I'm working him in the arena this spring. And usually he's quite afraid of our house in the background there, because everything is there's always so much stuff happening inside, and people walking behind and stuff, and so he's usually quite tense and spooked about it, but here it's barely noticeable. He
has been much better. I've been launching him all winter. I haven't been riding him since the treatment, because he was obviously uncomfortable with it. So we were just been lunging, and just only recently started, and you have been the ones who actually started it.
Yep. I rode him once this winter, but he scared the hell out of me.
Yep.
So.
And he did that with me as well, and I was like, okay, you're not ready yet. Because that is, obviously it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So we had to retrain his. You saw that? He threw his head up in the air. Shall we have a look and see if he was he has a strike off that is better?
Yeah.
I have lost count of which one it was.
I think this one is the one we're watching now.
Yeah, so we have to go to 10. Next one, perhaps, Steve. Yeah. Let's see what he does. Yeah, there he changed again.
Yep.
And then he's losing everything. And then he has to... Yeah, then he changed back. I was bragging about him being so good. And that is so important, to let them find out why it's better to do it the right way. Because they want to do it right.
Yeah. No, I'm just studying the movement of the saddle again, and sometimes now it looks like it's actually starting to get really nice sitting there.
Yeah. And then he's lifting his back.
Yep.
Here. And then because of you're doing small half holds with the lunge rope. And the transition down was also quite good.
Yep. I'm trying to have a steady communication with him all the time. Just tiny signals.
Yeah. Because you can, with small half holds, you're positioning his head to the inside so that he gets away from his inside front leg, and then he gets the diagonal from the inside.
I want to praise him right now. Just watching the video.
Good boy.
Good boy.
And here you can see here that the energy comes from the inside hind leg to the outside shoulder.
Yeah.
That is the diagonal that we're working with here. And then it's important to take him away from the underneck influence, and also from many show jumpers are cantering with the position to the outside and with the inside shoulder very much into the circle, and
leaning on the inside shoulder.
Yeah, and then it's very easy for them to drop the back. So it's very important when you're jumping that when you do a turn, that you're turning the horse like this to the outside rein from the inside leg, yes, but not with a hard outside rein that makes him being positioned to the outside, because then it's not only the neck that is having trouble. You get this, and then the horse falls apart, and then you don't get good jumping either. So it's very important to get the good riding between the.
I'm quite pleased watching his hind legs in the down transitioning to the trot as well. Because when I started him this spring, every down transition from canter was like, his leg was like boom, stiff to the ground.
Yes. Yeah. And he is like that. So after today, when I was riding him and leading him down from his pasture, he was doing this bump with his front legs. He's smashing them down into the ground when he's walking, but afterwards he was fine. So it's about the training and train them in the correct movement, so that he's landing in a soft way with his legs, and soft landing means not painful landing, because then the muscles get the work and not the joints. Yes. So we'll watch the down transition.
Yep. Because it was so much fun to see actually when I started him. Yeah, see, he doesn't just shoot his hind legs straight underneath and just pushing his hindquarters out behind him. Of course, this is not perfect, but it's much better to see that he's actually trying to tuck his bum underneath, even in the down transition.
Yeah, and then he's learning how to do that on his own. It's not that we say to him, you must do this. He feels that it's better for him to do that, and he obviously thinks,
this is not pleasant.
No. And then he has learned, because we have let him struggle, let him do the fault, and then we wait a little and we say, did you think that was a very good idea to do that? And he's like, no. And then we let him try again, and then
just gently leading him in the right direction.
And that this kind of side rein, it's not a side rein, it's like the lunge rope, and it's like very flexible. You could very smoothly just position him to the inside. It's helping him to find his diagonals. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, let's take the next one. That is 11, I think.
Oh wow! There I am.
And you haven't seen the videos before.
No, I've just seen some of the pictures.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything of the movies.
It's so funny with Adonis because he has such a small head.
Yeah, his head doesn't fit the rest of his body at all.
He's quite a large horse and he's got a pony head. And here you see that he's got the tail up again.
Yep.
And he's a little like choppy with his hind legs.
Mm.
But that is because it's more difficult with the rider up. And you have to lead a lot with your inside hand.
Yep.
Because he's very curious as to what happens on the outside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, the attention span of this horse is quite short sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And he's quite young. He's like 7 years.
Yeah.
And he's been started very late because he had an injury as a very young horse. So I don't think this horse has been, like, as I was saying, trained too early.
No.
He has basically not been much trained at all. And that is really cool because he's got such natural reactions to the aids.
Yep.
And that is very good.
He's not desensitized.
No, and he's not learned any tricks either.
Nope.
So he just reacts as we have talked about the natural aids before.
Yeah, and with him they work.
They work, and
Yep.
it's so fun. It's so very fun to work with him. He's like very eager to please and very responsive.
And I learn a lot from riding him as well, just because of this.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to sitting on troubled horses that has been desensitized, and I have to speak in big words and loud actions. And with him, I don't have to. I can just think.
Yeah.
But I often forget that I can just think, and he will do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes when we lunge him, he's like, I'm thinking, perhaps we should ask him for canter, and he just starts cantering.
Yep.
So he's very like. He is observing what we do. So, yeah, we have to see it once again. So you're very good at trying to move your hip joints.
Yep. Trying.
Yeah. Because he can be very tense in his back.
Yep.
And then he becomes like little, like, what's it called? How to say that? Like he's like unresponsive in his back.
Yeah.
He's like a little dead in his back.
Mm.
And he
mutes his off, kinda. He mutes his off.
Yeah, that's a good expression. He's muting himself. And here I don't think that you were doing a sitting trot.
No, not in this video.
No, but in the other ones, I don't know. You did some, but I'm not quite sure. Let's see.
Let's see.
But he's good. He's very nice to sit on, but he can tense up a little because of this. He's not very strong in his back.
No.
Even though we have trained him a lot. You see that his tail is starting to come up again?
Yep. And I have to say also, I'm intensely fighting my own demons every time I'm riding him, because he's so familiar to one of my previous horses many years ago, and she almost killed us several times. So even though my brain knows that this horse is not dangerous, my body tells me the quite opposite.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And here is a little behind the vertical. But you know, this happens from time to time, and if you were letting the reins out a little more, and now he's in front. But when you saw the picture when he was stretching, then he was really with the nose in front of the vertical. But this is something that when you're training for a problem like this, it's not easy to just be perfect all the time. It's not possible.
I remember to relax and just trust him. It usually gets better.
Yeah. Shall we try the next one? I think that's 1658, is it? Then we're trying the canter. And then how does that feel when he's losing it like that? He falls down in a hole?
Yeah, it's like, falling down in a hole and getting seasick at the same time.
Yeah.
gets like really wobbly.
Yeah. And now he's a little stressed in his gait as well.
Yep.
Because he's now much quicker in his gait, and that means that he's more tense. And now you're trying to position him into the inside.
Yep.
And then he was too tense. But that is, we have to show what happens when he is tensing up as well. And I think you're doing well with your own hip joints, and you're stabilizing well with your waist and your upper body.
I'm trying my best to move my hips as I want him to move his, just to kind of show him the way.
But we have to say that we have cantered this horse like twice before this.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, and I have never cantered on him. But you see, after the canter, he's also better in some ways.
And he really don't want to position him to the inside and canter.
Because he wants to position himself to the outside and lean on the inside front leg.
Yep.
But that the remedy for that is just to continue.
Yep.
And do the same, and as you do here, continue with doing the rising trot and let him stretch and find his balance. You can see that his tail comes up when he's trying to
and
canter.
I wasn't even asking for the canter. He's like, I can canter. And I was like, yeah, sure, you can try.
Yeah.
It's not going to last long with this quality anyway. But if he wants to try, of course.
Yeah. So, and that is also what you have to have some humor. You have to be able to laugh when he because he's trying his best, and then you just laugh and you pet him, and then it's okay.
He has to. We need to enable him to practice.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing. He's practicing.
Yes, and that what I said before, that he's practicing, so he must be allowed to do some faults, do some errors, so that he can learn from them. And he is actually learning, and as we can see, because he used to not be able to change back into the right canter, for instance. Okay, let's take 1700. And this looks better already.
Yeah.
And now you're doing the 2-point seat. Can you tell me a little about why you do that?
Usually when I go up in the 2-point seat, it's because either me or the horse tenses up so that I cannot allow my hips to actually follow the back's movement. So then I prefer to just stand up and not be in the way of the horse's back.
Yep. Good. And also when the horse needs it. Yeah. Because if he's a little tense or if he's weak in his back, when he is weak in his back, he's, even though he's better, and you let him stretch down, but not too much, because at this stage, if he stretches too much down, it's easy for him to stumble.
Yeah. Good boy.
Yeah. And he looks he looks very nice. He looks elegant.
Yeah, and even I can relax so much that I can take my reins in just one hand.
Yeah.
That's a good
and correct
sign.
your glasses.
Yeah. But I can see sometimes, even in the canter, he's like trying to lift his the croup.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to.
So that is what we're looking for, that he's trying, because when we ride him regularly and he's trying all the time, then he will get better.
Yeah, he will get better.
So he is much better now than if we take a look at the first video, like 0480.
Yeah, completely different horse.
And this is just half a year ago.
Yep.
Not even that.
And the whole horse looks like he's like shorter, much shorter.
Yeah. and much weaker.
Yeah.
And there is a canter here as well. I think it's 0507. Can we see that? You see that how he's curling his hind leg underneath, and the back is not able to lift. So he's becoming like short and strange, and the tail comes up. And he's not lifting, so he almost stumbles for each step.
Yep.
And was that at 1700 that was yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Jorin. He's such a good guy.
Yeah, he knows his job.
Yeah, that's for sure. So now he looks much stronger and older.
Yeah. And his frame is so much longer, even though he has built a lot of muscles and stuff. But the whole impression of the horse that he's been stretched out.
Yeah. And that is what we always start with, stretching the horse out so that the whole top line becomes long.
He's starting to look like he's a big horse.
Yeah, and the elegant horse that he actually is a very, very good horse. So we were lucky that he was injured when he was young. So we got him very cheap. So, and you never know if you're able to fix a horse like that.
No.
It could be problems that you can't see. So it's not a no-brainer to just take on every horse that you get.
You don't know what you get.
But I've got one more video that is actually Pelle's and my daughter.
Yeah.
That is riding this horse, and it's the first time she rides him, and I wanted to show you how smooth he is, even for a very young rider that is not very experienced rider. And has never ridden this horse before. And this is the 2005. Look at them. And now Torun, you're on YouTube. And you see here she's positioning him a lot to the inside. Yep. That is because it's easier for him to lift his back when she does that. And then she lets go of the inside rein and then lets him stretch his top line. I think this is really good.
Yeah. I could kill for her posture though.
And still you see that his back is not actually swinging as much up as he should.
Yep.
And that is why he is raising his head often. And that is not her fault. And it's not the horse's fault either. It's just a challenge that we need to help him with lifting his back even more. And what Torun does here is like doing half halts and letting him stretch forwards, and also trying to move her hips to follow the saddle's movement, the tipping movement that we'll be talking about all the time.
Yep.
And then when she manages to do that, and when he manages to do, because this is like you can't move your hip joints properly if the horse is not moving his back properly.
No.
And the opposite.
Yep.
So what you need to do is continue riding and continue training like this, and then the horse will become better.
Yep.
And it takes time. So that is the conclusion of this. And I was wondering if there is someone who has any questions. And now you can ask the questions directly to Mia because she's sitting here.
Yep. And you have to excuse me, I'm having quite the cold, so
Yeah.
I'm coughing and sneezing and...
Yeah, that is a summer cold.
Yep.
Yeah. And we have several other pictures that we can talk more about, but I wanted just to tell you that we really like questions. We think it's fun with questions, and these you know, we're talking about Hunter's bump, or it's called karperygg in Norwegian. There are many different versions of this diagnosis, because we have horses that have something called roach back. It's more or less like the whole back is like curved like this.
Have you seen a sight hound before? It's kind of the same shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is of course not the same thing. And there are many conditions that you should not try to ride on a horse with a back that looks really, really weird. But it's important to understand that this Hunter's bump can be quite invisible, or not so easy to see. But if you take your fingers along the spine, you can feel that there is a slight bump upwards, and there is a sort of a little valley or bump down,
kinda.
a little dip down before the pelvis comes, the croup.
Yep.
And so if you can feel that there is sort of this strange irregularity following the spine, then...
And it doesn't have to be big to have an influence on the horse. It can just be a tiny, tiny little bit.
Yeah. If it's really big, you should really give the horse to a therapist, because then the horse might be like a little dangerous to sit on. It might be bucking.
And
or
it isn't fair for the horse as well.
No. Because, when it's bucking or being stressed, that is often the sign of a horse that is in pain or
stuck somewhere.
Stressed. Even if they aren't in pain, they can feel that there is something wrong. They're not as efficient in their movement as other horses, and the horses that are slower than other horses, they know instinctively that they are the ones who are going to be eaten first.
Yep. So they have to be like extra alert also.
Mm-hmm. And they'll be the one that runs first.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was thinking if we can have a look at, or if you want to have a look at some of these pictures. I don't think that they are saying that much more than we have already.
If we maybe could compare that one and that one, but the other way around, maybe? Could that be something?
Yep, because these are for the same lesson.
Yeah.
Okay, 16, 15. This is interesting because you have these famous A's.
Yep.
The letter A.
Yep.
Between the front legs and between the hind legs.
Yep.
And that means that the horse is balanced. Because if one of those letters A are smaller than the other, then there is something wrong in the balance. But this, you can see that only in this moment when the horse is like spreading out its legs like this. Because if we are having a look at the other picture.
Yeah, 51.
1851.
Yep.
Then it's still quite right. It's a little, the bum or the hindquarters are a little lifted, so the back is down. So that is why the hind leg is not as under as it could have been. But now the A's are not the same. But that is because this is another moment in the sequence of the movement.
Yep.
So then you have to look at the hind cannon and the underarm or the forearm of the front leg. So what did you see here?
I was just looking at the What was I looking at?
That was
Because I was looking at his tail, how he's carrying his tail in these two pictures. Because here it's kind of higher again.
Yeah, and that is because the croup is higher.
Yep.
So here he's, and this is also when he's landing.
Yeah, but you can also see that I'm tense here.
Yeah, and you're sway back as well.
Yep.
So and when you sway back, your psoas is working more. So then his psoas is working as well. That is interesting.
And on the 16-15 one, you can also say I'm much more.
Yeah.
I'm straighter in my back, and I'm also relaxed on him because once again I have the reins in one hand, fixing my stuff. That means he's quite comfortable and feels like steady or carrying, or he's coming to the edge, both my seat and my legs, so I don't feel the need to hold on to the reins.
Yeah, and also this moment is when he's like in the air.
Yeah.
And then he's not that hard. When he's landing, it's easier. Then the back will sort of fall down a little, and you will get this in your lumbar back as well.
Yep.
So it's but the tail is obviously more in the right position. So the spine, and you see that the spine is in a much better position.
Yep. I think there are some questions.
Yeah.
The random gnome is saying, I thought carperygg and roachback is both called kyphosis.
Kyphosis.
Yeah.
Kyphosis. Yes.
Hunter's bump is called sacroiliac subluxation.
Yes.
Wow, that was a difficult word.
Yeah, it's Hunter's bump is it is, as I was trying to say in a little more common words, is that it might be a block in that area, but we are trainers, we are not therapists. So and carperygg and roachback, their kyphosis is the opposite of lordosis. Lordosis is like sway back, and the kyphosis is when the back is sort of
like a bridge.
Like the other way. And but roachback, and it doesn't matter because these words and terms are used in different ways, in different with different people and in different countries. And what we have used Hunter's Hunter's bump and carperygg at this as the same word or the same term, because that is what we have found is the mostly used in daily
common.
in the daily language. And of course, roachback is something else, because that is we have seen. I haven't taken pictures of roachback when the whole back is like this. That is something else. So what we're talking about is specifically that part that is, as you called, the subluxation of that sacroiliac joint, but it might have many different causes, and we're not going to go into that because that is something that the therapist should go into. That is not what the trainers are going to go into. With trainers, we're doing exercises to make it easier for the horse to recover and to complement the treatment that the therapist has done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Helen has a question for us. Is throwing the head up in an upward transition to canter because of lack of strength, ruling out any pain issues?
It's a coordination issue. The horse is used to, when the horse has been moving a lot on the forehand, it's used to lifting the front legs with his underneck, the muscles on the front of the neck. And of course, the front legs are also lifted, can be lifted by the underneck. But what it does, if the horse is not also stabilizing and lifting with his top line, the underneck will take more or less too much responsibility for lifting the front legs.
Yep.
And then you get tensions here, and then the whole, because the underneck, the brachiocephalicus muscle, is the direct antagonist to the splenius muscle that is on the top line. So if the underneck is on and blocked and tense, it's impossible for the horse to lift with the splenius and the top line. And then when the horse tries to do the canter, the strike off into canter, and tries to put the hind legs under and lift with the top line, it can't do it because the underneck is too tense. So what the horse tries to do is lift the front legs with the underneck only, without the stabilization of the top line. So it's a coordination trouble, but it's also a strength issue, of course. Yeah.
Yep.
More questions? It was really cool with questions. That is so fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I have a question, but I can't seem to dig up something.
So we have had some questions about future streams, what people want us to talk about. And many people have said that I had some suggestions about, all the muscles around the hip joint for the rider. Because many people have pains in that area, and they have trouble moving the hip joint properly.
Yep.
Trouble to, getting to relax in their legs.
Yep.
And all that comes from stiffness in the hip joint.
Yep.
And the hip joint is really complex with many muscles that are, I won't go into that now, but we're going to have some streams about that, because many people said, yes, please, do the complicated stuff. We like to learn more about that.
I want to dive in.
Yes. And of course, because so many people have trouble with it.
Yeah, very common.
Yeah, so we have said, okay, we'll do that. And if you guys, please can let us know in the comments if that is a good thing, or if you think that would be really complicated and boring. So then we will know more about what we should focus on. So yeah, and the people say that they like the answer. That is good. Thank you. Okay, I think we're soon finished.
I think we're running out of time, yeah?
Good job, Mia.
Thank you. Wow, I'm not embarrassed at all, actually.
Yeah, that's fun, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so perhaps we will have guests more times, because Pelle is busy. He's doing tournaments all the time, so
he's busy traveling.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So okay, thank you for there is somebody who's
it's Helen again. It was really interesting to see Mia's sway back example and how Adonis did the same. And then when her and his back were straight, with my sway back, I can only wish my sway back was as good as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I've been working so hard on that one.
And Helen is been so generous that as to letting us show her problems with her sway back in one of our earlier streams. Yep. So if you want to look more into that, just go and search for that video. Lower back syndrome, something like that. Sway back or something.
Yeah. I think it's named something.
So please go and have a look. So, okay, thank you for listening. We're back in a couple of weeks' time. So
thank you for watching.